Hey everyone, my name is the Theme Park Evangelist. Well, it is officially Memorial Day weekend, and this is my fifth Memorial Day weekend that I'm celebrating here in Northern Kentucky, as crazy as that is. So, I am starting two brand new YouTube series this summer. First of all, I am going over the history of the theme park evangelist, but I am also discussing how I met Venita, which is what I'm going to be starting right now, actually. First of all, before I get into that, I wanted to mention, basically who I am because I'm hoping and praying that this summer I will draw a lot of new viewers and hopefully some new potential subscribers to my YouTube channel. So, I'm originally from Central Florida. I started my YouTube channel on Sunday, December 4th, 2016. Excuse me, sorry, indigestion. And TJ, a close friend of mine back in Lake Wales, Florida, helped me start my YouTube channel up, and he is a part of the original team. Once a year, I typically go back to Central Florida and I work on my YouTube channel with him. Now, next fall, I will not be working on my YouTube channel with him because next fall I am getting married. Well, really, next August to be specific. Saturday, August 2nd, 2025, to be more specific, to a young lady named Katie that has been featured in some of my more recent vlogs back about 2 years ago, or for the past 2 years, I should say. And we're going to be going on our honeymoon within the next month or so down to Central Florida to go and celebrate our honeymoon together. And I'm going to be, of course, YouTubing while I'm down there. Not the entire time, obviously, because it is our honeymoon, but I am going to YouTube quite a bit. And one of the things I'm going to be YouTubing, of course, is our very first time eating at Ohana for breakfast. So, looking forward to that. But anyway, when I was back living in Central Florida, I spent the majority of my life living in the largest rural county in Florida called Polk County. And I've actually talked quite a bit about it on my YouTube channel here. But anyway, so when I was living in Polk County, of course, um, when I first grew up there, I was homeschooled, and then I moved to Lake County where I went to elementary school, and then I moved back to Polk County, and that's when I went to middle school, and then my all of high school, and it wasn't until my junior year of high school. Sorry, I get tongue tied sometimes, and that's when I first started looking for a job. So I had actually started working, I should say, but I started looking for a job when I was only 15 or 16. But it took me until I was 17 before I officially started working. So my very first job was a grocery store bagger at a company that has finally made its way here to Northern Kentucky. Well, not quite, but it is here, but it's not here. I like if that makes sense. Called Public Supermarkets. Now, it is here in Kentucky. It's in Louisville, and it's coming next to Richwood. But my very first location was in Winter Haven, Florida, right next door to Legoland, Florida. And when I first started there, I started working with this older lady named Venita. I'm not going to say her last name for privacy reasons, but when I first met her, she was in the grocery department. So the grocery department is the department that is responsible for everything that comes into the store and gets put onto the shelves, and they're also the department that is responsible for taking all the old sale items off the shelves on Wednesday nights and putting all the new items on the shelves on Wednesday night as well, so that way, come Thursday morning, they are ready for the new sale. The sales at Publix typically run Thursday to Wednesday weekly. And Publix is open 7 days a week. They do not close on Sundays except for Easter Sunday. And unless Christmas Day just happens to fall on Sunday, they will not close. But more or less, Publix is a very good company. I have stock invested in them. I also have a retirement plan with them. And I also have a 401k invested with them. But that is where I did start. And, when I first met Venita, I really did not know her. Like, I did know her, but I didn't know her, if that makes sense. And it really wasn't until she transferred to customer service. I forget the reasons. I would have to ask her again because she did tell me once upon a time, but she eventually did come to customer service, and we started really getting to know each other. But it wasn't until May 21st, 2019 when I really started getting to know her. But that's another story for another time. But anyway, I used to bag for Venita quite a bit. Now, keep in mind, when I first started getting to know her, she was only working on Sundays and Wednesdays. So, 2 days a week, I knew for sure I was going to see her. Now, these days, she's only working on Sundays because the rest of the week she's at Legoland. Yes, for those of you who do not know, Venita is also the same friend that has been helping me get into Legoland, Florida for a long time. So, anyway, I have really, enjoyed our friendship. It's not just because of the fact that she has been blessing me with free Legoland, but also the fact that she really has cared about me. She's been like a mother to me, and I just can talk about all kinds of memories that I have with her, and she's always watched out for me even when others have not been willing to, and she's always stayed a true friend. It really hasn't been until Katie has come into my life that she's starting to test how strong our friendship really is, if that makes any sense. And honestly, I'm not really surprised by this because all these years, TJ, and Venita have stayed strong friends of mine. TJ, for those of you who do not know, is the one who helped me start the YouTube channel, but I also met him back in November of 2015, December 2015, a few years later down the road, and he and I used to work together at Steak and Shake. Kay and I met at Publix as well, back around the same time I met Venita, and I met her just as some strange bum that used to sit outside the store using the Wi-Fi, and then she and I used to volunteer together. And TJ and I were the only ones that never met at Publix, which is hilarious because TJ has gone to that same Publix for years and years and years, but it really wasn't until after I became his friend that he started becoming interested in Publix. Funny how that works. And I'll be honest with you, TJ was not into the theme parks until after we became friends. So it's interesting how you can have so much influence on somebody. And I mean, TJ never was interested in Manny's Original Chop House until after I became his friend. Kay is the one that got TJ into Glory Days Grill. He never would have, thought about it. Like, TJ was never into politics until after he became Kay's friend. And I never really liked Legoland all that much until I started hanging around TJ and Venita. And Kay, for that matter, and all three of them absolutely love Legoland. And it's hilarious how one person, two, or even three can have that much of an influence on somebody. And I can literally go back and show you guys some of the YouTube videos I've had, whether it was with Venita, with TJ, with Kay, at Legoland, just to prove to you guys, most of my Legoland vlogs have involved one of them, if not all three of them, at some point in my YouTube channel career. And it just goes to show that, they had a lot of influence on my Legoland interest. And I mean, yes, um, I did like Legoland. I did go to Legoland before Venita and I became friends, but it really wasn't until after Venita and I started hanging out on a regular basis that I really was like, oh, Legoland's not as bad as I thought. Like, the very first time I ever went to Legoland, that's when I kind of was like, well, it was cool, but it was kind of disappointing. But then I started hanging around TJK and Venita just to prove a point, and I started going, oh, I really like this place. But at that point, Legoland was starting to develop, and it's starting to become more of a park, not just for little kids, but for older kids, even adults. That's when they started developing rides like Lego Ninjago and whatever you call it, the Great Lego Race, the Lego Movie World, and a lot of those places, me, TJK, and Venita all like to see on a regular basis. So if I remember correctly, when I first started talking to Venita at work, she was working in a store called the Big Shop at Legoland. So if you've ever been to Legoland, Florida, anytime soon, um, you'll know when you first enter the park, on your immediate left, basically, maybe 2 minutes into the park, you're going to come to a store called the Big Shop. It's right there on your left, and she worked there for years and years and years. Well, eventually the retail life burned her out, and she switched to food and beverage. Now, I believe she operates the ice cream shop that is, I don't really know how to put it. I guess it's over by the medieval area. And when I was first working at Publix years and years ago, I was actually friends with other Legoland employees, and both of them had some issues. One was physical, the other was mental. But I knew they worked at Legoland because I did talk to them quite a bit. They both came in their Legoland uniforms, and they also both told me so many times that they worked there, and I've even seen them both at Legoland at one time. So I know I talked about Legoland quite a bit in this vlog, but just, keep in mind with this vlog series, you are going to be hearing quite a bit about it because, not only are you going to hear about Publix because that's where Kim, Venita, and I work together, but Venita and I also hung out quite a bit at Legoland since she worked there. And also, something you should know about Polk County, Polk County and Northern Kentucky have one thing in common, and that is, it seems like wherever there is a place that hires a lot of seasonal people, you're going to see a lot of them that work at that place that live in the area. Like, when I used to visit TJ back when he was living in actual Lake Wales, not out in the outskirts, there were so many people that lived in Polk County within the city limits, whether it was whether it was Lake Wales, whether it was Winter Haven, whatever. And they all worked for Legoland. And Venita has been living off of Lake Howard for years. It's one of the bigger lakes in Winter Haven, for those of you who do not know. And she drives probably the furthest out of everybody I know that works at that theme park. And I can safely tell you right now, out of all the people that work at that theme park, I would say there's probably about 50% of the staff that are seasonal and or whatever, part-time, that live within 15 miles of the park. And how is that similar to where I'm living right now? Where I'm living, I can safely tell you right now, about 50% of the people I know that live around here are seasonal staff, and they live within 30 miles of either the Ark Encounter or the Creation Museum, and they're employed by Answers in Genesis. And the other 50% are all full-time staff. That's usually something to know about working at a park. It's like if you lived within the Mason area of Kings Island. You can safely say about 50% of the staff, if not more, are employed at Kings Island. I can safely tell you that right now. The odds of you finding a Kings Island employee here in Northern Kentucky, not so high. It's like if you drove out towards Disney World, anyone looking for a Legoland employee, you won't find one. You just won't. Like, when TJ first told me, which he worked at Legoland at one point too, just so you know, that he was going to work for Disney, I was like, you're kidding me, right? Like, Venita has told me more than once. I don't know how he does it, because it takes her now 20 minutes just to get to Publix or Legoland, when it used to only take her 10. Keep in mind, without traffic, it does not take very long to get around Winter Haven, but with how many people are living now in Winter Haven compared to years ago, it's pretty crazy. And compared to, I've been to her place. I got to go a few months ago. So the reason why I got to go was because she had told me she wanted to take me out for dinner. And we got done early, and TJ was bowling at what I call Cypress Lands, what they call, I don't even remember what it's called. Oh yeah, Incredible Entertainment, which is honestly a really stupid name anyway. So I said to Venita, well, why don't we go back to your place? Well, she was a little embarrassed about it, but I'm like, Venita, I've known you for almost 12 years now. Come on, give me a break here. So I convinced her, and I followed her all the way up to her place. So we ended up taking Cypress Gardens Boulevard all the way down. So just to get down Cypress Gardens Boulevard now takes 20 minutes for her, when it used to take 10. And then we turned right onto 17, which eventually can apparently take you to Orlando, just so you know. And then we ended up taking a side road over by one of the oldest McDonald's in the entire country. And that takes you out by Lake Howard, and eventually we were over by her place. So we were out of her place, and we ended up just hanging out there for an hour, hour and a half. But her cats, oh my word, they gave me the worst allergies, but it was worth it. It really showed me that she trusted me enough. And that's why I was really appreciative of the fact that she made that effort. And I know you're probably wondering, like, am I rambling on or what? Like, yes, in a way I am rambling, but the point of this whole YouTube series is not just to prove to you guys that she really does mean the world to me, but to also prove that, you know, she's not the only one that works at Legoland. It's also to prove that, you know, our friendship was not just based off of working together at Publix. It was more than that. It was the fact that we hung out at a theme park in Polk County, Florida, a lot together. It also was to prove to everybody that, you know, we did have a beginning at one point, and we didn't just become close friends by accident. It took us a lot of getting to know each other over years and years and years. 2 days a week, that's all we had together. When I see you guys again in the next YouTube video of this series, I want to talk to you guys actually a little bit more about, like, some of the things we talked about. Now, keep in mind, this YouTube series is not going to be as long, but eventually I'm going to lead into, like, how we became close friends and all the things that we used to do together. once we did become close friends. And that way you guys will start to understand how she became like a mother-like figure to me. So when I see you guys again next, I'm going to talk to you guys more about like how we became close friends gradually just at work alone. And that one, I'm mainly just going to be talking about Publix, but I will mention Legoland once in a while because once again, don't forget she did work there 5 days a week, if not more, or just about four, because she was working at Legoland Sundays. Sorry, she was working at Legoland Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then she was working at Publix Sundays and Wednesdays. So sorry, not Wednesday. She was working at Legoland Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and she was only off 1 day a week, and that was on Mondays. That was crazy. But anyways, I've YouTubed long enough. Katie should be here shortly, so I will see you guys in the next vlog. Always remember, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend, everybody. Remember the point of this holiday is not about the good food. It's not about going out and hitting the pool. It's not all about firing up the grill. It's not all about traveling or hitting up the theme parks. Those are great ideas, but that's not what it's about. It's about the men and women who died for our country. I will see you guys on Thursday at Soak City with Katie. Until next time.